I think consistency, or lack of, probably in the 2015 season was probably the story, because I think we potentially had a chance to finish a little bit better than fourth place. Just didn't, particularly the last weekend, didn't play well and didn't come ready to play really, and had a chance to improve our standing there. And so we had a few in the middle of the season that were kind of up and down, but I think considering what we lost to injury in 2015, our guys competed hard. We just lacked the consistency we needed to win a championship regular season. I think makeup offensively is going to be a little different. Past couple of years, we've had some guys that could run it out of the yard and more home run threats. I think this year, we're going to be a little more athletic and be able to produce runs in different ways. I don't think we have as the home run. We got some guys that can hit home runs, but we just don't have the Kelvin Britos sitting there in the middle of the lineup that can run one out of there, and just to name a few. But I think we can generate runs a lot of different ways. I think a little more balanced to this year. Yeah, we get a bulk of our innings back. Losing Ryan Burleson and Nick Morbido at the back end of games certainly is a void. But Butler was a weekend starter in 2014. Timmy Wages was essentially our number 4 starter in 2014. Dominic Morbido was our setup guy in 2014 for Coker. Was slated to be a closer last year, and so lost all 3 of those guys. Didn't really pitch an inning for us. So get all 3 of those guys back. Brandon Jean pitched in our 1 hole last year, and we anticipate him doing something similar this year. So get all those guys back. Plus, Grant Painter and Wes Todd pitched in our rotation last year, and get those guys back. Then some newcomers: Ethan Elliott, Matt Mullenbach, Cody Henson, kind of the top 3 newcomers on the mound that have impacted. They're going to see significant time for us. Elliott and Mullenbach are freshmen, and Henson is a junior college transfer. So, like our makeup there, I think we should be a little stronger on the mound with getting those guys back and getting the new kids in. So I think those 2 guys give us a nice punch. I think both those guys could hit anywhere from 2 to 6 in our lineup. That's kind of how they profile. Both left-handed hitters, so probably want to try to break those guys up a little bit. Eric Kalman is returner. He didn't have the year, I don't think, last year that he's capable of. Played most of the year last year hurt, and is still recovering from that, and we're hoping to get him full speed. But I think he only struck out 8 times the entire season, which we put a high value on not striking out. So I think he has a chance to be in there in the middle of our lineup as well. I think the very top of our lineup, there's still some question marks there because we're replacing guys like Scotty Miller, who hit in the leadoff hole, was an on-base machine for 4 years here, and so replacing him will be tough. But there's some candidates there, some athletic kids that, Gene Rodriguez is a candidate, Danny Valdez, Seth Hunt are all candidates to hit at the top. Mason Ewers as well. That's another guy that's come back. We lost for the entire year last year. Mason, I think, had he been healthy, he would have got a considerable amount of playing time for us last year. Dove for a ball, BP, first game of the year down at Aiken, broke his hand, out for the year. So we'll get him back. I think it's going to be a little bit different makeup. I think a little more athletic at the top and the bottom than we've been, though. What we're going to this year and next year it's called an unbalanced schedule, where every year there are 2 teams in your league that you don't play, and that rotates every year, so it changes. But this year that happens to be Tusculum and Carson Newman, which disappointed, local teams close to us. It'd be nice to play those guys, and I'm sure our players would love to play them. We do play Tusculum midweek in a non-conference single game, but all those guys play against each other in junior college and high school, and probably will miss those series. But what that allows us to do is start a conference schedule 2 weeks later than we have been. Last year, we opened up with Aiken, and then the very next weekend playing conference games. Some teams opened up with conference games last year in 2015, which is crazy to think about. But we have one of the earliest conference tournaments in the country in the SAC, which dictates how early we start conference play. So by now only playing 8 conference series instead of 10, we can get a few more non-conference series in at the beginning of the year. And so we've got 4 non-conference weekend series this year, and 3 of those 4 are at home. So like that part of it, we kind of see what we're going to be a little bit. And then midweek we got some tough opponents. Trevecca Nazarene is Ryan, who was here for 7 years, has got his team going. I think they're preseason second in their region, and got them midweek, and got Lee, who's made the transition to D2, is very good. But just to name a few, so going to have our hands full during the season and try to schedule tough teams and try to get better and put ourselves in position, if we play well, being a standing in the region to go to postseason play. So I like our team. A lot of unanswered questions in terms of the offense and defense, because we lost so many everyday players from the lineup last year. So lots of opportunities for returners to elevate their standing and their role, new players to come in and earn roles. And so unanswered questions there, but I like our team. I like what I've seen from our guys. From a pitching standpoint, I'm optimistic about those guys that are returning from injury and the new players we got in to add to the guys we had starting on the weekend last year. So I feel like my gut, after seeing our team, I think we're going to be a little bit better on the mound and defensively. Offensively, I think we have a chance to be good. It's just going to be good in a different way of generating runs. So.